All right, today I'm going to paint a card, and this is a birthday card, and it's for my little grandson, Eli, and Eli is going to be 5 years old, and he loves a lot of different things. He's interested in space. Outer space is one of the things. And so the fifth planet in our solar system is Jupiter, and he's turning 5. So I painted a card for him, ready, of Jupiter. Can you see it? And yeah, I've never been there, but I used some, I used a picture from the internet. Anyway, there we go. It's all watercolor. I didn't use any gouache at all, and I'll show you how I did it right now. Okay, I got a fun one today. My grandson's 5th birthday. He's going to be 5 years old. It's coming up. 5 years. So cute and so sweet. And he has a couple of things he's very interested in. One of them is space and space science. So Jupiter is the 5th planet, right? Let's see, Earth. How's it go? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter. 5th one. So because it's his 5th birthday, and because he is interested in the planets and the stars and rockets and all that stuff, I thought I'd make a birthday card with a picture of Jupiter on it. Now, I must tell you, I've never been to Jupiter. And I've never even been close. And I don't think I've even ever seen it like through a telescope. I may have seen it with my naked eye, but it looked just like a white dot in the sky. So I had to go to the internet and look at a picture of Jupiter so I knew what I was looking for. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to use this cup to make a round circle, and that will be Jupiter. And then we'll try to make it artsy a little bit. So I'm going to break a rule of mine and use a graphite pencil. I figure the space behind Jupiter will be dark, and so therefore I probably can get away with a pencil line. I don't know if you can see it, but it came out pretty good. There's Jupiter right there. Now, my first thought is this is going to be harder than I'm anticipating. What should I do first? Should I do Jupiter or should I do the sky behind it? I think I'll do Jupiter first. See, because if there's light, like let's say the sun is behind it right here, that light will be coming this way, and it'll be not only brightening this side of the planet, but it will also be kind of glaring and making that hard to see, that area right there. So I think that's the plan. And Jupiter has, I'm looking at a reference photo from some science website. It has like lines on it, like that go around it, and it's got a big spot right there. All right, and it looks like it might be an orangish brown color. So let's start with that, and let's make sure we have the backlight, some other reflective light. So I have to be really careful. So let's just take the water and see what we can do. We'll make it wet, but we don't want to make it right to the edges, I don't think. I think I want to keep it I'll keep it wet. I'll make it damp, not wet. Just, that's more than enough water right there. If you can see it, I don't know. But anyway, today's the 30th day of December, by the way. My grandson's birthday is Monday. He's a January 1st. He's a New Year's baby. Robin's grandson is also a New Year's baby. Isn't that interesting? It is to us. All right, I just made it damp. I didn't make it really, really wet. So let's start with the, I'm using these dry colors here. Let's start with the orange. Probably just kind of play with it, I guess, because it's one of those things where you don't really know what you're doing. Except that I'm looking at a picture. So some of these bands that go across the planet are darker than others. That's about the best I can tell you. And there's that big spot right there. So some of these are darker than others, and I just have to keep working this. So see, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that stays lit and this over here gets darker. So let me put some dark over here. This does have some anomalous looking patterns. And I guess the big identifier is that spot right there. There's the beginning of our Jupiter. Got to keep a lot of it white, and the background too has a lot of stars in it, so we have to leave a lot of spaces. So I'm going to go ahead and add some dark, and we'll come back to it. I'd like to add a lot of white spots without really using the gouache later on, but I probably will use the gouache later on. Oops, that didn't work. I really messed that one up. I'm trying to keep white spots. I probably should use a smaller brush. Yeah, this might take a little time. Let's get that one wet. We want to make this area over here the sun, so I'm going to stay away from that. Little tiny areas of white that'll be stars later on. Little tiny areas. And I'm not making the paper wet in advance. I'm just putting the water down there. It beads up, it pools. It does what it does. I get the darkness in the background up against the circle I made. So we have a picture of Jupiter. Earth's in the sky on Jupiter. This is a thought, huh? Earth's in the sky on Mars too, of course. Earth's in the sky. So they see us. Isn't it fascinating to think when they tell you, when scientists tell you that some stars are millions of light years away? The fascinating definition of what that is. I know you know this, but it's just fascinating to think about it, that the light we're seeing was created millions of years ago. Isn't that fascinating? I find that fascinating. So we're not looking at something as it is right now. We're looking at something as it looked millions of years ago. Now, of course, that's not true with the planets in our own solar system. There might be a few minutes. The light might have been a few minutes ago, but it's not millions of years. I just find that stuff fascinating. So it looks like I'm making little circles, but what I'm trying to do is create little areas of where the white paper shows through. And I'm trying to create. I'm trying to remember to keep this bright, and maybe over here some brightness. So I don't want to color it all in or paint it all in. Little tiny white dots. See, now I could come back. I could just paint this over and then come back and use the gouache. I'm not going to rule that out because I could still do that later on. But it's a challenge to myself in a way to go ahead and make little stars here. They're kind of random. There's no science behind them. You can't point to one of these dots and tell me which star it is. No, it's not gonna. I don't have that much. I don't have a clue what it would be. But what I do like about what happened here is that some of this, the watered down paint that I first put there, is giving me an opportunity to make some almost like more distant stars. They're a little bit less bright. So it's just a matter of keep doing this, and I think the good thing about this is the paint is drying as I do it, so it's making it pool less. It's interesting how children develop interests in certain things. You know, he goes to school, so it's possible that some of that, the things he's interested in, happen from his experiences in school. And of course, he's got a very smart daddy. That's my son. A very smart mommy. And she's a teacher, so she's probably continually teaching him things. I'm sure my son is teaching him things too. And his other grandfather is a teacher. So, yeah, this grandfather, that's me. That's why I call myself Poppa, by the way. It's because of my grandson. That's what he calls me. It's what I asked him to call me. I said, my son, when the baby was born, I said, what's he going to call me? He said, what do you want? I said, I want him to call me Poppa. See, that's because I called my grandfather Poppa. And it was spelled Poppa, like you know from the channel here. It wasn't Papa. I don't know where that came from, to be honest with you, the Poppa, but that's just the way it was always spelled. So that's how I spell mine. Poppa paints. Poppa paints circles. Poppa paints circles on a card. Lots of little white dots. So when I was doing the winter cards, I didn't do this. I should have done this. I did a little bit because this would have been perfect for snowflakes. These little dots. But this is a little bit time consuming, but that's what art is. You know, art is sculpting, and art is, you know, creating a little piece at a time. I think I'm going to take some of this wet. I'm going to use, going to kind of mix it with that, and I'm going to go ahead and try to create a little bit of a shadow here on the planet. The light's coming from that direction, so I'm just going to try to do this and create a little bit of a shadow on this side of it, because I want it to be lighter than the sky. I want the sky to be the darkest area. So bring that right to the corner there, to the edge, the corner. There's no corner on a circle. Gotta be careful what I say, especially around a 5-year-old. They know so much. He told me there are 2 moons around Mars. And he's right. Well, that's what we learned anyway, right? I've never been there either. I always think of the Elton John song, Rocket Man. He says, Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids. In fact, it's cold as hell. I think this has a little bit of a shadow on that thing too. So I'm just basically putting down, see, I can always make it darker, but it's almost impossible to make watercolor lighter. So I'm going to make it dark here. Try to keep it like that and just let the water spread it out a bit. And I'm purposely not going up against the edge there because I want that to look like a backlit area. Just keep it real super thin. And then let me do some of that same thing I'm doing on the other side. Put some dark areas over here with some stars. Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids. In fact, it's cold as hell. A rocket man. I miss the earth so much. I miss my wife. It's lonely out in space. I'll give Elton John credit for that, but Bernie Taupin is the lyricist, so really I'm reciting Bernie Taupin's words there. Elton John's melody. Elton John's voice is in my head. I was a big fan of both of them. I still am. It always catches my attention when I hear something in the news about one of them. Never met either one of them, but when I was younger, I used to think about that a lot. Because I wanted to be a music person. I am a music person, but you know what I mean? I wanted it to be my career. So, in a sense, it was my career for 3 years. I played a lot of colleges and a lot of bars. Made a record. Worked in a producer's office for a few months out in LA. But nothing big ever happened. I probably wasn't good enough. That's the best way to say it. That's the best way to explain it. It just wasn't good enough. Especially, when there's so many people who are so good. When Robin and I did the radio show, we met so many people who were just so good at music and had beautiful voices, and we would call them the real deal. That's the real deal. It's kind of like you work in the field for a long time and you know that some people it's just a God-given thing. I was watching the Kennedy Center Honors last night, and Dionne Warwick was there. She was honored. And she was the real deal. She just had that voice. It was a gift from God, right? That voice. Karen Carpenter also. She was one of those with that amazing, just natural gift of a voice. There's so many I could name. I'm going to keep that white right there for a little while because I think I want that to be like a bluish color, and I want some of this to be red over here too, so I'm going to be careful to just add lots and lots of stars here. And keep it black. Keep it black, man. Keep it. Now the edge of the card is up here. Let me try to find that. I don't want to go too far up there. So when I was a kid, I was fascinated also with astronomy. My brother Bill was, maybe more so than me. He subscribed to a magazine called Sky and Telescope, and he had a pretty incredible telescope. But I would look through it. I would look through it, look up at the sky. I remember he aimed it at the moon one time, and you could see the craters on the moon so clearly, so closely. And that was, I think that was before the summer when NASA landed men on the moon. I think so. But when they did land men on the moon, oh my gosh, I think everybody who had a telescope must have got it out. We're all trying to see. We're all trying to see if we can see the guys on the moon. And we couldn't see them, of course. I guess it'd be like looking at Earth, trying to see your backyard. If you were on the moon looking at Earth, right? It is interesting when you look at pictures of the Earth from outer space. You say to yourself, I always say to myself, what was I doing that day? Where was I in that picture? I'm in that picture somewhere. Yeah. Some of the other watercolor cards I did were pretty quick to get done. And I would say this is a simpler composition, but it's taking so much longer because of all these little areas that have to remain white. And like I said, there's no rhyme or reason here. It's just creating the effect of stars. Just lots of stars. Let me put a little more dark over here now that it dried. Give it a little bit more depth. We'll go ahead and grab some of that orange again. Make some of these a little bit more defined. Make that spot a little more defined. Yeah, he'll know right away. My grandson will know right away this is Jupiter. I'm doing a portrait of a planet. It's got some kind of, almost looks like stormy, like you see a picture of on Earth of the clouds. Almost looks like that's what's going on the surface of Jupiter on the reference photo I'm looking at. Okay, now let's see. One of these colors is red. This is the red right here. I'm gonna lightly lightly put in some of that red. Let it spread. Try to keep some room for some white. So I want this to be very light, very wet. Bring it up to the circle. Keep it very watered down. Jupiter, the fifth planet from the sun. What was that TV show? The third rock from the sun. That's us. The third rock. Yeah, if you look at the moons of Mars, they don't look like our moon. They don't look like a perfect circle. Like ours is like this perfect circle. But the one on Mars is, the ones on Mars are not. They're like rocks just floating around the planet Mars. I mean, it gives us the perfect nightlight. Our moon is the perfect nightlight. Get this wet here. So that's kind of like the warmth of the sun. And I know there would be no really coolness from the sun, but I'm gonna use that art technique of warm and cool. Bring it down this red into some of that black area. All right, let's get some of that blue. Okay. So I think this one is the blue. This one over here is the blue-greenish one, I think, I hope. It's kind of hard to see it. But again, I'm going to make that very watered down. And bring it over here. Very watered down. Get some blue going on there. Isn't that cool? See how that's working out? Keep it light, keep it watered down. Let the blue come around. Let the blue mix with the dark gray, and it darkens the dark gray too. But do you see how that blue and that orange are working together to create the feel of warm and cool? Yeah, I don't think I'd want to be one of those people that goes to Mars. You know, Elon Musk wants to send people to Mars, but I mean, part of human existence is other people. I mean, the most interesting thing to us is us. It's like when you're with a dog, you know, and your dog is in the car and the dog sees another dog. Well, the most interesting thing to that dog is another dog. Well, that's us. The most interesting thing to us is us. I mean, literally us. I guarantee you, you look at a picture from your elementary school, let's say, you can look for yourself. He just said, one of those is me. Remember that song? Was it Dave Mason? One of them is me. And I don't, oh, was it Andrew Gold? One of them is me, and I don't know who. Oh yeah, that was Andrew Gold. Just fixing a mistake I made there. All right, back to the space, the sky, the dots. Lots of dots. Lots of little dots. I often wonder when they do movies. I know that they have artists who do the sky. I often wonder if they, how big they make them. And in today's world, with everything done digitally, are they doing it on like a Cintiq? I watch, I don't know if you know Laura Price. I don't know Laura. She has a couple of different channels, and she talks about what she does. She does matte paintings, environment paintings from movies. I find that fascinating. I don't think she's allowed to show the picture she does. I think when she shows art, it's just something else she's doing. But I think when she's worked on an actual project, like for Disney or for Paramount, I think she stays away from showing that. Alright, I'm going to try to mix the black and the red here. And I'm going to water it down a lot. And I'll come back to it. I want the sky to be, I want this red to be kind of making its way out to the outer part of the picture. Not like an explosion, but like a burst of light. And so anyway, when you watch Laura or Nathan Fowkes, who else do I watch that does movie matte painting? I think James Gurney may have done some. I don't know. But when you watch him, it's a fascinating thing. Oh, I know who does it. Aaron Blaise. Oh my gosh. He lives not too far from here. He lives in DeLand, and I don't know him. He doesn't know me, but I do like watching him. I do like listening to what he has to say. He's so nice. He just seems like a really nice guy. They all do, to be honest with you. I hope I'm as nice as they are. I hope people say that about me. He's a nice guy. It's a nice thing for people to say about you, right? You're a nice person. Yeah. What's your legacy? Your legacy is to do as good as you can. Robin and I do the children's stuff, and we always say, if you can just bring one moment of joy to somebody. We do these cards, like I'm doing right now, and we send them to people who are sick. It's a program that the church that we go to started. They call it the card store, the card factory, or something. And basically, they ask people in the church to send cards to people who are in the hospital or homesick, or maybe they're just feeling down because of the holidays or whatever. And they ask people to send cards, and most people will buy the cards, And Robert and I, we paint the cards. We like to paint them. Robin is a very good artist too. Very good. Very good. Very different. Everybody's art is different. That's why you don't, if you're an artist and you're watching this, and if I'm inspiring you at all, I don't want you to aspire to paint like I do. I hope I just inspire you to paint, period. There's so many different ways you can express a thought or a feeling or something with art. And if you're a sculptor, you got that going for you. I've never actually tried that. I take that back. I tried a little bit with clay, but that doesn't count really. I tried to mold things with clay, little faces and stuff. And then claymation, animation in general. I bought that Procreate program called Dreams, and I tried my hand at a little bit of animation. It is fun, but it takes a long time. You think this picture is taking a long time? Oh my gosh, to create animation, it's one little thing at a time. Alright, let me just keep adding darkness here, make this sky. Just keep getting it going. So the year is almost over. We got today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. I call it the stress-free holiday. You don't gotta worry about getting gifts. You don't gotta worry about doing stuff. I guess it's got stress if you're having a party. I've been to a few New Year's parties, but I tend to fall asleep at New Year's Eve. I tend to miss the moment it turns midnight. And then the next day, you're back into the year. The stores, the Walmarts and the other stores, Hobby Lobby, they're always way ahead of everything. They have some schedule. They start Christmas like in July, I think. I think they're already, now that Christmas is over, I'm sure they're already doing Valentine's Day or Easter or whatever's coming up, Passover, whatever. They do everything. And Walmart, same thing. And then there's the candy. Oh my gosh. What is it about every holiday has candy? I'm not complaining. I like candy. I shouldn't like it as much as I do. But I do. Yeah, there's a lot of candy. It doesn't end. People say the candy season starts at Halloween and it ends on Easter. Well, hello. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. That's 7 months. That's a long time. So there's no candy in the summer? There's no 4th of July candy bar or something like that? One of the things about living in Florida is the weather, of course. And I think, wouldn't it be cool if it's not too cold? It'd be cool to go swimming on New Year's Day. Wouldn't that be cool? Let's see if Robin wants to go swimming on Monday. I don't go swimming much because I got something on my leg I gotta be careful of, but I think it's okay. I think that's given the illusion of stars, don't you? I think I'm accomplishing my goal of making that look like stars. And some of them are maybe too big. All right, now let's get back to the planet. Let me go for some of this yellow. Let me make sure it looks like yellow. Let me just get a clean brush. use this one. Just get this yellow here. Let's put some yellow on here. Follow some of those lines. Keeping that very white right there. Let's grab some of that orange. We'll mix orange with yellow. Maybe some of this, what looks like raw sienna. Let's water it down a bit. Go ahead and add some of that dark gray over there and make the shadow a little bit more defined down here, I think. Over there and over here. I got enough paint, I just need to water it down. We want to keep it lighter than the sky behind it, and darker over here where the sky is light, or the space behind it, and then lighter over here. So it's got to have this, it's got to play with the light a little bit. Make that very watered down right there. Is it looking like Jupiter? I think that the spot needs to be more defined again. I kind of obscured it a bit. This spot there's a lot of science articles about that spot. It's not really understood, I don't think, completely what it is. Some people, some scientists, whatever, say it's a storm of some sort that's just always going on up there. I think I've read that it moves too. This is just a very, very sliver of light that comes around here. See how that looks? That little peak, it peeks out right there. Gives it that feeling of a backlit area. I want that blue light to be kind of interfering with that. We want this to be very bright. We want that light to just coming over there. I got that Elton John song in my head. Was there a Jupiter song? I got the Mars song in my head. Jupiter is so far away. I wrote a song once about Jupiter. My song goes like this. They had been the best of friends for so many years. And then I went to Jupiter to hide all my fears. Hide my fears behind the tears of all the things I never found on Earth. And in the end, I don't remember the rest. Anyway, I used that melody later on. Robin and I did a song. I think it was a Planet song with those chords. My very educated mother just served us 9 peanuts. Now, we didn't make up those words. That was a rhyme that I remember when I was a kid to learn the names of all the planets. My very educated mother just served us 9 peanuts. But you know what? They took away the planet status from Pluto. Now it's called a dwarf planet. But it's still a planet. Just because it's a dwarf planet. What are they trying to say? That dwarfs aren't people? What are they trying to do? They're trying to be impolitical or politically incorrect, whatever the word is. Yeah, how do you like that? Is it starting to look? Maybe it needs a little bit of a light, very light, like a red. Let me put a little bit of super, super light red and orange mixed together. It's got to be super light. I don't want to mess it up too bad. Let me practice on this piece. Yeah, just spread over there. That's the back of the card. Let me just add a little bit over here. Give it that feeling of brightness. The 5th planet from the sun for a 5-year-old boy. 5-year-old boy. I do remember when I was 5. I don't remember a lot, but I have some memories. I remember walking home from my kindergarten graduation. I think the reason I remember that is because, you know, you're wearing a cap and gown, and you're walking on a sidewalk that you are very familiar with, at least I was. And you're walking past houses of people you know. There was a lady who lived on my block who was always really nice to me when I was a little boy. And I remember her name was, oh my gosh, Mrs. Company. Mrs. Company. I remember walking past Mrs. Company's house and being aware that I'm wearing something I don't normally wear, a cap and gown, wondering if she's looking out the window. You know? That's probably why I remember being 5. That memory right there. So, I think I have a memory from 1st grade Must have been first grade. I was in that same school, because I only went to that school. It was in Levittown, New York. I only went to that school for kindergarten and first grade. And I remember I had a crush on a girl. Yep, I did. 5 years old? Oh my gosh. You're not even supposed to have those thoughts at that age, right? But I did. I remember the teacher moved our seating, changed our seating, and I said to the girl, the teacher moved me right next to the girl that I liked. And I remember saying to the girl, the teacher's name was Mrs. I think it was Mrs. Wheeler. It's funny, I remember it. But I remember saying to the girl, I'm glad Mrs. Wheeler moved me here. You know why? And of course I was fishing for her to say why. And I think she did say why. Whether she did or not, I told her. I said, it's because I like you. And I don't know what that meant to that girl at that time, and I don't even know what I meant by it. But that's what I said. I remember saying that. I don't remember the girl's name. Yeah, that was kind of something to remember. Interesting little tidbit of my history. You know, I'm going to just add some blue. I think just kind of haphazardly adding some blue to this sky is going to help the composition. Just a little bit. Let me put some back here so I can play with it. Let me do the same thing with the orange and the red. So yeah, I'm going to use the back of the card as my testing ground, my palette. Yeah, just to get that red over here too. Maybe even add some more to the planet itself. Maybe warm it up a little bit. It's all about the composition. Composition is 90% of what makes a picture a good picture. The simple idea for this one is to just not put the planet smack in the middle. You know, the idea was to kind of off-center it like that. There we go. All right, a little more of this, dark. Just kind of put it in places where maybe it needs a little more darkness. When you look at stuff in with your eyes, you don't have that same glare, that same flare that happens when you look at it through a camera or through a lens, or a binocular or a telescope. But it gets that flare. You see it on pictures all the time. And so you got to be. We're so used to seeing pictures from cameras that we think things look one way, whereas in reality, they may not. You know, we're so used to seeing things that way. We're so used to video. We see our world through video. We see our world through movies. So much of our world is seen through something else and not with our own eyes. So, for what that's worth. I mean, even a painting. You're not looking at the world, you're looking at a painting. Right? Okay, well there's my card. I think what I want to do I have an eraser here. I think I'm going to erase that pencil line. because I want it to be hidden, and I want it to be there. All right, well, there's the birthday card for a 5-year-old who likes outer space. I think what I'm going to do is get the back just a little, almost like an abstract going on the back, just to kind of give it some purpose, make it, instead of just looking like a mess, just give it some purpose. Make it almost look like the picture extends. Now if I do this, it doesn't really extend because I'm not really giving it any thought, but just taking these blacks and these blues, extend it a little bit. All right, now let me just get the water, just spread it out. Sometimes when I do digital art, I will take the blending brush and I'll spread things out. Same thing with pastel. If I use pastel, like soft pastel, I'll spread it out with my finger or with a paper towel. All right, kids. Well, there is my birthday card for my 5-year-old grandson. Hope he likes it. Let me take a picture of it so I can share it. And there it is. The picture of the picture. Boom. Jupiter. Okay. Well, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.